Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are listening to me. Welcome to another episode of Wealth Building Conference. Tonight, we're going to be looking into leadership retention culture, how you can actually retain quality people in your business, in your organization. So, if you are, wherever you are listening to me, please grab your paper, and your pen. Let's learn tonight. All right. Just the as the usual way of starting the program, I just want us to please, wherever you are joining from, type your name and where you're joining from. If you are joining from Canada, for example, just type Canada and put your name there. We just want to know you, and we want to make this webinar engaging and interactive. So if you have any question, please drop it on the comment section. I'm going to attend to your questions immediately after I finish the presentation. And again, if you know anybody who is a financial advisor, financial planner, insurance agent, mortgage agent, real estate agent, this is very important topic that they need to listen to, because we are building teams. So how do we retain quality people? Do we have culture of let people see the value in what you are doing and let them stay without being like pushing anybody. It is very important to them, for them to learn. All right. So today we're going to talking about something deeper than production, deeper than recruiting, and deeper than numbers. So we're talking about retention cultures and leadership system. Because the truth is, you don't build a lasting organization with excitement alone. If you think excitement alone is going to build your organization, I'm telling you, it's not. You build it with system, you sustain it with cultures, and you multiply it through leadership. So retention is not luck. Culture is not accidental. Leadership is positional. It's intentional. If you want predictable growth, reduced lapsations, stronger teams, and long-term passive income, then we must design an environment that produces it. So tonight, we're going to break down how leaders create stability, how culture drives performance, and how system remove chaos. Now, let's get into it. All right. So once again, welcome. So I'm going to quickly pull up my slide and we go into the presentation right away. Let me quickly pull up my slide. All right. So today we're going to be looking at retention cultures and leadership system. Retention culture and leadership system. Like, this is much more deeper than recruiting. This is much deeper than production. This is much more deeper than numbers. Because if you are a licensed insurance agent, the ability to retain quality people in your team is one of your greatest assets, right? So if you are having a kind of a system whereby it's kind of difficult for you to retain quality people in your team, there is no way you can build a sustainable system that will continue to grow over time, right? Let me give you an example of that, right? I've seen a couple of people like reach out to me and say, hey, I don't want to work with this person for some reasons, like maybe it happens, right? So it just be like maybe values and mission, visions, maybe it doesn't align, right? So as a leader, how do you balance quality people? How do you build culture that will create strong leadership system that your team can continue to duplicate this? That's what you're going to look tonight. All right. So let me ask you this question. Why do good people leave great opportunity but stay with great leaders? Right. This is a very, very profound question. So, some people, they have very, very important, like, very great opportunity, but you realize that for some reason they will just quit that opportunity, and they will tell you that even though the leader they want to join, maybe the opportunity is not as great as the one they had before, but they still chose to, remain with that leader. Why? It's not about talent, right? Teams don't fail from lack of skills, right? We just came back from the first ever EBZ summit organized by Greatway Financial. Was opportune to be part of that organization. So the instructor shared a very clear picture of what it means to build a system. And one of us asked a question like, what do you do when you have a team and probably you make a mistakes and you want to tell them, like, how do you present this to them? And it make it very clear. the more you are open to your team, the more they understand, the more they see value in you. Don't hide anything from them. All right. The point I'm trying to say is that, right, people don't quit opportunity because of the fact that there is no maybe there is no any other thing than because the leaders does not really align with what, maybe it doesn't align with the values, maybe it doesn't align with the vision and all of that. So now, not about talent. Teams don't fail from lack of skills. Again, if you have an organizations that have a weak culture, cool. So there's leadership is not going to be, there's not going to be a quality leadership. Like I'm talking about the belief system of that organization. Because what creates an organization is the system and the quality of leaders that you have in place. That's what make an organization, not the product, not the service they offer, but the quality of leaders and the quality of the system they have in place that will build leaders. All right. And again, let me tell you this. It's by retention. Retention is intentional, not luck. Like, have you ever imagined that some organization they keep, year in, year out, people continue to stay with that one organization? Not because they are giving them great salary, not because they are paying them so much, but because they have this sense of belonging. They have this opportunity to belong to an organization that recognize their impact, they recognize their values, and that's what makes an organization. Let me tell you the real retention problem. Okay, people don't quit teams, they quit confusion, inconsistency, and lack of leadership. That is why so many people quit teams. Like, I've seen that a lot in this business. Like, for some reasons, you just realize that some people just call and say, "Hey, look, I can't work with you." Not for, and you feel like maybe it's not for anything, but sometimes you probably have to check yourself, the quality, the styles of your leadership. Maybe it's not really like the kind of leadership styles that can really attract people, that bring people together. So people quit. All right, people quit because of confusion, inconsistency, and lack of leadership. Now, let me tell you this. Number one, no clear path. People drift without rejection. So if no clarity, if no clear directions of where they are going, you probably might lose a lot of people in your team. Clarity as to what is the vision of the organization, what is the plan. Like, we have long-term, short-term, and medium-term plan. Do you have that in place? Can you communicate that directly to your team in such a way that they will know where you are heading to 1 year, 2 years, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Also, you also need to look at your structure. People burn out quickly if you don't have a structure in place, right? If you don't have a clear structures of, especially line of reporting, the way organization is being managed, people will quit those organizations because there'll be chaos, right? No culture, people disengage completely. If there's no culture, people disengage from that organization completely. You might see them, they might be coming to work, they might be joining you in the meeting, but their mind is not there because they are totally disengaged, because there's no culture of growth, there's no culture of respect, mutual understanding and cooperation. So, this is a very big problem in an organization. If you want to build team, you must understand all of this, right? Again, retention problems are leadership problems. So if you are struggling to retain people, you have to look at your leadership, right? And I'm saying this because I am an insurance agent. I've seen people quit a particular team, resign for the just because that I can't work with this person. It probably, you say, maybe the person may be too arrogant, maybe the person is too aggressive, maybe the person does not pay attention to their problems, maybe it's not a listening leader. All this is very, very important for you as a leader if you want to really build an organization, if you want to grow team. What is retention culture? Retention culture is how people feel staying with you. Think about it, right? How likable are you when you are in in an environment? Like, do you think people really want to stay where you are? Some leaders, the moment they enter a certain organizations, they will tell us, I cannot stay in this type of organization because of this particular person. I've seen that a lot in many cases, right? If you agree with me, put agree on the comment section. Like, some organizations, for the fact that so person in this organization, some people tell us, I cannot work with this person because of the styles of his leadership. They don't really care whether they are paying so much, they don't care whether they are making so much money, but the fact that that organization is harboring that kind of quality of leaders, nobody want to work there. Okay, people feel recognized and valued. If I'm working an organization, if I have a team, if I'm not valued, if I'm not recognized, there is no way I can succeed in that type of an organization. Everybody wants recognition. Everybody wants recognition. If I'm not valued, so what is the point of staying in that kind of in a team? I need to be valued. I need to be recognized with whatever I'm contributing to that organization. That system must recognize my input. 2, supported, resources and guidance provided. If you have a team, right, and you don't have a support system in place, you don't have resources that they can use to work beyond what the organization is providing for them. For example, yesterday I just sent a particular slide to my team because why I felt they need that, just to empower them and make them to grow, right? See, if you are a leader, if you don't add value, if you don't have something that you can share with your team that will make them grow, you cannot retain quality people. You just realize that they'll be getting license and they will not do anything. So how resourceful are you, right? What kind of leadership system, what kind of support guidance are you providing for your team? Again, coach, mistakes are learning opportunity. You must be able to coach your team. Like, what type of coaching system do you have in place to make sure that you guide your team, you train your team in a direction that you really, really want to go? Because at the end of the day, like, what will make them to perform, what will make them to achieve success is the quality of coaching system you have in place, right? My organization, they have a system of bringing people on board. But when you bring them on board, they have a system in place of, engaging advisors and insurance agents. But the question is, what system do you as a leader have in place to make sure that you continue to engage those people and make them to be productive? Because it's not really about inspiration. People are not really, they are not asking for you, they are not asking you to inspire them. What they are asking you is that, do you have a system in place for me to be able to run my business without any problem? If I'm struggling in a certain area, do I have support system that will guide me to explain or give me clarity of what I need to do? If you don't have that in place, you cannot retain quality people in your team. Again, growth celebrated, not threatened. Now, how many of you realize or notice that some people just decided not to do anything again? Why? Because they're not growing. They'll tell you, say, look, I've joined your team for the past 3-4 years. I just remain where I'm. Let me be very honest with you. Some are not ready to do anything. But if you see somebody who is really pushing, ready to learn, coach, but you don't pay attention or you don't give them attention, you don't provide the system that will make them to grow, chances is that you're going to leave that kind of, you lose that kind of person to another organization or to another team. People quit and go to another organization just because of the styles of the leadership. Some people, there is nothing you can do to make sure that to retain them. But if you do what you have to do in terms of have all these things in place, you make sure that you see them, support them, coach them, and develop them. If you don't have all of this in place, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to have a team, to grow a team. Many of us as a leader, right? Sometimes you need to sit down and ask yourself, why am I struggling to grow a team? Why is it that people get license in my team and they don't work? Or maybe after some times they work, after some time they just stop producing. Why? You need to sit back and review your system and review the way you handle your team. Culture is what people experience when no one is watching. Now, if you have a culture of respect, if you have a culture of building your team, training them, coaching them, mentoring them, trust me, people will stay. What is leadership system? Right? What is leadership system? A leadership system is how growth is repeated, not guess. Like, when it comes to growth, when it comes to people like developing leaders and leaders to go and develop leaders, the system must be very clear in such a way that it is easy for everybody to repeat that system. Now, if you have a system that is cumbersome, like difficult to explain to people, you cannot develop a team. Like, if you have a system that if you are not there, your team cannot replicate that system, then there is a problem. You will lose people. They will leave, right? These are the things that you need to ask yourself. Clear onboarding. Now, when you are onboarding team, when you are onboarding your advisor, your team member, do you set expectation from the day one? I do this a lot. When I present to you, I will set expectation from the day one. This is a life insurance business. You have to know how to prospect. You don't need to know it right now, but I'm going to coach you. Are you ready to face rejection? Are you ready to face pushback? Right? Can you withstand working under high pressure? Because sometimes we may have to set some goals that we need to, we have to put ourselves on toes, like we need to achieve that. So if you are not, some people might tell us, no, I don't like marketing. I don't like to talk. I don't like talking to people. Now, if you tell them that, look, if you see someone who is ready to coach you on how to book appointment, how to handle rejections, how to present to people, how to handle pushback, are you ready? If the answer is yes, then that kind of a person is the person I can work with. I don't want you to be perfect from day one. What I need from you is your positive and willingness to learn. If you have that, then we're going to work together. But I'm going to set expectation from the day one that I'm not going to be pushing you, right? Number two, if I have training, you have to join my training. You must create time for this business. If you are not ready, there's no point wasting my time and wasting your own time. It is important. Setting standard and expectation from the day one is one of the quality of a very good leader. Two, communication range, right? Consistent touch points and feedback. You see, when you meet them, ask them for their feedback, right? So don't just assume that they understand everything. Ask for their feedback, right? There should be a communication, flow, right? How do I communicate with me and let me send feedback to me if something is not clear to you, or maybe my style of leadership is not that okay, or maybe you see something in me that you don't like. Please call me and talk to me. Don't pretend. It's very important, right? Training and mentoring, ongoing development and support. You must have that in place for your team, for them to grow. If you don't have support system, if you don't have a mentoring system, like in my team, right, have coaching for students, advisors, and leaders. You should be able to categorize all of this. Okay. You also need to categorize the part-time, the full-time, and transitioning people. There are different way of coaching all of these people. You cannot coach them in the same way. You are not going to get result, because somebody that is working, understand that person that is working, right? He's still doing 9 to 5. You must create time for that kind of person. If you set training for maybe during the day, the person might not be able to attend, but you must also create time for that person. And make sure you set standard. If it's going to be Sunday, from so to so time, you must create time for this. We have to sit down together and learn on how to develop yourself. At the end of the day, it's about you, not me, right? Again, define standard, right? Performance and behavior clarity. Like, let me tell you this, right? If you are a leader and you don't set standard, chances is that nobody will even respect you. They will not even take you serious, right? Setting standard is very, very key. Sometimes when you are setting that standard, some people might tell that this is not, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't need to make sense to them, but you as a leader, you must have some set expectations and standard that you expected from your team. I have standard, right? My team, what I expected from them, I set it up from the day one, and it's non-negotiable. If you want to work with me, you have to abide by the rules and regulations of the game. It's a business. If you really want to be successful, you have to treat like a business. Because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to coerce you to work. But if you set standard, the two of us will understand why we are in this, why we're working. Okay. If leadership lives only in your head, it can't scale. That's profound. If leadership just only stays in your head, it can't scale. You have to prove it by all of these parameters. And this is how they will take you serious. The reason why some of your team are not taking you serious because you don't even have standard. There's some people tell us, I cannot even work with that kind of a person because it doesn't even have standard. It doesn't have standard. This is my practical experience, sir. Early on, I realized this critical thing that the more team grew, the more I had to grow system, not just motivation. As I said earlier, how many of you have experienced this, right? You presented to somebody and they want, they're excited, they want to make money, and the next time you call them, they don't pick your call. That's motivation. Okay. But if you don't have a system in place, right, some people will join you not because of the fact that there's so much money in the business. A lot of time, people that are very, very successful in the business, they don't join because they want to make money. They join you because of your leadership system, because of your retention, your styles. That's why they join you. Now, number one, these are the things that you must understand when you want to grow your team. And this is what worked for me. I'm sharing my practical experience, like weekly check-in, regular leadership touch points. So you must have, like in my hierarchy, we have weekly meetings, okay, for all my advisors, for these are people that are actually, that we are mentoring to attain leadership position. Every week we must meet, learn, train ourselves, coach ourselves, understand the product, personal development, and all of that. It's non-negotiable. It's ritual. We must meet every week. 2, clear promotions path. So in my organization where I work for, Greater Financial, we have clear path for for promotions. There are guidelines. You don't need to, you don't need to lobby for anything, right? Once you hit that milestone, the system recognizes you. And we set that expectation from the day one that this is what will make you to become this, that, and that, right? So it's your responsibility to work. Mine is to guide you to get to that level. It is your responsibility to make sure you have to show intention that I'm ready to do this. I'm not going to push you. If you are not ready, there's no point pushing you, right? Now, you have to define growth and opportunity. So at every levels, there are opportunity, there are peripherals of office that attach to that kind of leadership, to that position. We explain that to you. When you get to this leadership level, you start getting passive income. When you get to this leadership level, you start getting bonus and all of that. We have to define all of that so that you know why you are doing it, not for me. Because a lot of times, some people attach that that attachment mentality that I'm just doing it for you. You are not doing it for me. You are building your team. You are building your future. So, because if you don't set that expectation, chances is that they will come to you and say, hey, what I'm doing is I'm just helping you. You are not helping me. Let them know this. And it's because you don't set standard. There's no clear expectation. There is no clear system clarity that will make them to understand that this is for me. Like when you bring them to the business, you show them the path to the growth. Like these are the things you need to do to get to a certain level, right? Again, coaching culture, support over control. Like you must have a coaching system in place. Guys, I don't care how much money you are making right now. If you don't have a system in place, you are running on a treadmill. And that's the reality. A lot of people started the business, they make so much money, and at some point you just realize that they just give up the license. Why? Because they don't have a system in place. Right? Someone that have a system in place, even though the person is struggling right now, at some point he will start scaling, because a system is what make a business successful, not just making money alone. People are making so much money. There's so much noises around, and stay on your lane, guys. Stay on your lane. right? What you are doing, so long you understand it and you can, you can define it, you can tell other people and teach them. And that's what makes a system. It doesn't need to be so complicated, right? Just a very simple thing like, can you bring people on board and show them little guidelines, step by step, on how to attain social position? That's what we call a system. Like if you ask some people, how do you achieve this one? You tell is God. Of course, it's God. But can you tell me in a clear, simple language, how do you bring people on board? How do you make your team to be productive? How do you make these 6 figures in 6 months? Tell me. If they are, if they are mumbling, they are rambling, and they can't define all of these, then that something is wrong. So as a leader, you must have a defined system in place that will make you, like everybody come in, they don't need to call you before they understand that. The system of recruiting, the system of, how to handle objection, the road path on this, it has to be clear to all the teams, right? Collaboration focus, partnership over competition. In this business, you must collaborate. You can't do it all alone, right? Collaborate with providers, collaborate with other teams, cross team your team. Like, I do invite, very, very powerful leaders to come and train my teams. Because why? Sometimes you don't know it all. You need to collaborate, right? And again, even within the team as well, you need to collaborate. There are certain times that I just spot some people in the team, like they're very, very good when it comes to appointment booking. And I have to like pair them to learn from this person when he's booking appointment. How do you book appointment? How do you prospect? All of these are very important things that you need to do, right? Collaboration. It's one of the important things when it comes to, retention. What leaders can learn from this? Number one, people stay where they grow. Have you ever seen anybody that, stay where he knows that I'm not going to grow here? Nobody. Like, people will want to stay where they want to grow. If I see, like, the reason why I'm working with Great Way Financial today is because I know I'm going to grow here. And I'm growing because everything is provided. The system is there, right? Everything that will make you to be successful, they put those things there. It's not up to you to work on those systems, because the system has actually produced very fantastic leaders in the past. So these are the things you need to ask yourself. Where you are right now, are you growing? Some organizations, it's not about having so much licensed insurance agent or so much financial advisor. It's about the quality of the system they have in place to grow people, to build people. If you know that you are in an organization and you're not growing, then you need to ask yourself, right? 2, system remove confusion. Clarity creates confidence. Look, if like you see, I keep saying this a lot, right? System, right? The reason why, and if you have a business, right, and you want to sell that business, what people buy is the system in place, right? The easiest way to evaluate a business that is very, very good, it is the system, right? If I'm not there, can that company, can the system works? Can that team flow? Can they work without you? If you don't have that kind of a thing in place, then you are not building a team. You must have a system in place that will continue, that is repeatable, that is replicable. It's non-negotiable. Very, very important, right? Culture reduces frictions. Like, where if you belong to an organizations, right, and they don't have culture there, all right. Culture is very important, because that's what people will first foresee when they come to an organizations. The first thing people feel is the culture of that organization before they can begin to talk of something else. Like I told you, that some organizations, like if you see some people there, some people probably they not say that I can't work here because of the leadership system. Say this is the people, there's no way you can grow here. There is a toxic environment, right? What kind of leaders are you? Are you building a toxic environment for your team, right? If you are doing all of this, you can't build, you cannot create leaders. You can't retain quality people, right? consistency build trust, right? Reliability strengthens bonds. Your organizations, right? What leaders should also understand that when you have a quality leadership, you have a system in place. It actually build consistency, and it's strengthening reliability bonds, right? How leaders can apply it, how you as the leaders can apply it. Just three steps, right? Number one, clarity. Clarity. You have to clarify exactly what you want, right? Eliminate guessing and ambiguity. When you have a very simple system in place, it makes your team to understand the direction they want to go, right? You don't need to you don't need to create a system that people will come and they will be asking, what do we do? Right? You have a system in place that, as you are moving toward the next step, everybody know what exactly they need to do, and you don't need to call anybody. There's no guesswork. There's no ambiguity. Straight to the point, right? Again, there must be touch point, right? You must create a regular, consistent check-ins. Like, there must be a place where every week, every day, every month, there must be checking. You want to review, you want to make sure you look at things, what work, what doesn't work, so that you can measure progress. What you don't track, you can't measure it, right? Especially we are dealing with numbers. All of this will help you to reduce frictions. It will reduce ambiguity. It will reduce, a loss of focus, because a lot of people lost focus because why? There's no touch point. People don't even check on them. They don't even know what they are doing. And that's why some people like just get frustrated and say, look, you just received their resignation letter. I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. Why? Because nobody check on them. Nobody asks questions. Nobody really put them through and show them this, because you don't have a clear system in place. Again, you must coach your team. You build confidence rather than just correct them. Instead of it to be correcting over and over, like, why can't you have a coaching system in place that will continue to guide them and lead them in the right path, right? So this is the things, right? Clarify the expectation. This will eliminate guessings and ambiguity. Stay connected consistently. This are the regular touch point, and coach more, build confidence through support system. Why system matter more than charisma? Like, every organization that I know that are very successful today is system. It's system, it's not charisma. All right. Charisma may attract people, system are what keep them. Right. If you don't have system in place, you can't grow a team. Right. Inconsistent mentoring. Without system, guidance varies. Like, you must have clear system in place. If you have some people are just they're using moods to develop people. So mood dependent growth, development shouldn't rely on feelings. Like, don't coach emotions, coach system. All right. Coach reliability. Don't feel like, I remember when I started my business, I was going through immigration, on deportation order, and I will have an appointment. I have to show up. I have to be alert in that step. Of course, I have something that is going on with my life, right? Imagine dealing with deportation, dealing with, debt and all of that. But I understand that all those things, if I put it in my mind and I start dwelling on that, I will just be, I'm not going to grow. So I have to put it aside, come to the meeting, dress well, be punctual, do my prospecting. And that's what actually helped me till today. I understand, like, if you are going through some stuff as a leader, you need to share from your pains. But when it comes to business is not run on emotions. And a lot of times we actually mix these two together, right? We mix emotion with business, and that's why a lot of us are really, really struggling, right? There is time for you to deal with emotion. But when it comes to business is business, right? Leader burnout. So, unsustainable without structure. So if there is no structure in place, that is going to lead to burnout. People don't learn your intention, they learn your system. This is the core message. To grow and retain your strong team, build retention culture. Create an environment where people thrive, right? Your environment must have, it must create a system in which people can come there and feel they have the sense of belonging. They want to work with you. They want to join your team. Develop leadership system, structures that enable growth. You must have a system in place that make them to grow, to achieve their goals, to achieve their dreams. So lead to be copied, not just admire, but replicable. You must have a repeatable, replicable system in place that your team can actually emulate, right? And that's what we call leaders. A leader without a system cannot mentor effectively because people replicate how you lead, not what you say. Ask yourself today, what culture am I creating? Examine the environment you are building. Okay. What system am I leading from? Right. Assess your leadership structures. And would I say it on my own team? Be honest about your leadership. If you want retention, build culture. If you want to scale, build system. If you want legacy, lead intentional. Thank you so much for today's presentation. I want to appreciate you for your time. It's been a very, very fantastic session today. We are streaming on all the social media, so join us every Friday, 8 p.m. to 9, just 30 minutes. This is about 36 minutes, just less than an hour. We don't want to take more any time. But the most important thing to us is that let's educate ourselves on how we can really grow and how we can become a successful person. All these things we are training is not only useful as an insurance or financial planner or real estate, even as a business owner, right? Even as an employee, these are culture that you need to emulate, because I've seen so many people, they resign from an organization not because they are not getting money, they are not getting their salary, just because of the very fact that this environment is not, I can't stay in this kind of an environment, and that's why some of them resign. So I want to sincerely thank everyone that's joined today. So tomorrow we're going to have protecting family ties, right? Tomorrow is Valentine. So, we want to discuss about what love really means and how we as an immigrant, how we can protect our family. So join me same time tomorrow. My name is Oludare. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.